Hey, I'm Tom,
And I'm Josh.
and this is the BlockCast.
We're Lego fans. Click.
Exactly. Welcome back, everybody. This is some episode. I'll have to remember it, but you'll see it down below. We've talked a lot about a bunch of different things, from history to heritage to the newest set coming out that you could potentially buy without everybody else buying it to try to resell it on Bricklink. Now, today's going to be a
Or
little bit
the sets
different.
that are retiring as well.
Yeah, exactly. If you remember from our last episode, Josh is currently building an active set while we are recording our podcast. So if you are listening via the podcast, not watching on YouTube, you will hear the clicks of faint bricks in the background, and that's Josh building the Sonic the Hedgehog Lego set. That is soon to be retiring at the end of 2024. Today, we thought we'd do something a little bit differently than we've done before. It's more so a free-form episode, and I'm not talking about the television channel. We are going to be talking a little bit about creative ideas that we would love to see built or created by us to submit to Lego as what we would want to see as an official set. Right, Josh?
Yeah, or if someone wants to take our ideas and has endless amounts of brick and time and wants to take these ideas and submit them themselves, please do just give us credit.
Yeah,
the Blockcast,
yeah, right on the
copyright,
box.
TM,
Yeah, that'd be great.
Josh and Tom, Tom and Josh.
Yeah, either way. Just don't forget.
Fans, click.
And if you want to put a subscribe button on there too. Also, if you haven't subscribed and you've made it this far in, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, that like button really helps as well.
Throw the comment in there too, just so they know that you're paying attention.
Exactly. I mean, ask us questions. Want to know what Josh is building or why he's building it a certain way? Ask. Or if you want to know about our personal lives, well, we'll try. Can't guarantee anything, right?
I don't even have those answers.
Well, a little bit more about what we're discussing today. We talked about creative sets that people submit, and Josh is going to tell us a little bit more about that series that Lego actually really pioneers, but also takes to heart and really, compared to other companies, really listens to Lego fans.
It's true. We've talked multiple times about Lego ideas on the podcast, on the BlockCast here. If you've been a listener, you've heard us talk about it before. It is something that I am particularly passionate about. I do my very best to not only collect the idea sets that are turned into official sets, but I do my best to support the community as well. So I spend a lot of time on Lego ideas, looking at submissions that fans have applied to the website to gain support. For those of you who may not have heard us talk about it before or have not watched the other episodes, what's wrong with you? But
Yeah.
also,
Gosh, go pause it here. Go back and listen to some of the other episodes. They're fun, just as fun as this one.
But if you don't have time to do that, I'll tell you a little bit about it as well. So Lego Ideas is a website. It's run by the Lego company, where you and users and different things can submit ideas, as the name suggests, of future Lego sets. Do you have a particular movie or TV show that you really, really love? Is there a specific, location in the world, or a type of theme that you enjoy that you don't see represented in current or past Lego sets? Through Lego Ideas, you can submit these ideas. You can design the set yourself, whether with physical bricks or if you have a digital brick building program. Submit these ideas as actual submissions. Other people, other users of the website can go on, they can view them, they can vote for them. And then if they gain enough support, they need to get 10,000 followers. It goes into the period of review. So the Lego company will then review those ideas that gained the appropriate amount of support, and they will then narrow it down to a select few that will then be narrowed down further to become official Lego sets. The sets may be a little bit different from what you submit. Lego may make some modifications to make it a little bit bigger or smaller, to include different minifigures depending on licensing, if it is based on some IP, which we've talked about before as well. Mm-hmm. There may be some adjustments, but wholly the idea is yours, and it will have gained that support. So when it comes out in the instruction manual, you get some details, get a shout out on that set, and know that you have had a part in making Lego history, which I think is a really awesome concept. And I think a really neat way for Lego to engage the community of users with coming up with new ideas and really tapping into what it is that the public likes or potentially doesn't like.
Yeah. And to add to that point, not only from the creative standpoint, but from the business side of Lego as well, it's the idea that it's not a bad investment. Meaning that when you get these votes, right, you're getting a minimum of, it has to be a minimum of 10,000 votes. Is that correct?
Yes.
That 10,000 people are willing to go out and buy this set and show its support. So you know that there is a market for this set before you were to even agree to make it a set. And I think that's what's smart on Lego's behalf, because rather than investing something that not necessarily everybody wants, like yes, you're going to have your standardized sets like City, Friends, certain adventure series, things like that that are true Lego brand, which they're not taking as much of a risk as an IP-based set. They know that with the creative sets, that this is what people actually really want. Make a limited run of them. So not only do they do well in the first market, if they do well, you can create more of them or let it retire and gain even more value. But to those that wanted it, it will happen, because in reality, they're not paying necessarily IP licenses to the non-IP'd entities, but for ones like, I think The Office and The Friends were a submission. Is that correct?
Yes, they
You
were.
go,
Seinfeld was as well.
but you would go.
Even going back.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Even going back further, the Flintstones, Winnie the Pooh, those sets, even the Sonic set that I'm building is a Lego Ideas submission, and they gain the popularity because they're well-known characters, they're well-known entities that people love and have a long history of, fan engagement and fandoms.
And Lego will go out, know that they have the audience to sell to, get the IP and the licensing rights, and make the set as what the intellectual property owner would want. But also they show the amount of people that want what was pre-made, and more than likely, without a few changes like Josh mentioned, not necessarily change it, and people will be happy. It's the idea that they have a guaranteed sale, right?
Which is why I suspect we may not see a Fawlty Towers Lego set, unfortunately, because I don't think that enough people know what a Fawlty Tower is.
I love Fawlty Towers. I really do. If you do not know what Fawlty Towers is, we won't tell you what it is. Well, we want to keep you in the lurch. Go ahead, go on the Google machine, and give Fawlty Towers a little bit of a Google, and we're going to leave it at that. But it is fun. I would love to see a set. Can you imagine some of the scenes that you could create in the Fawlty Towers? And then you get his car. Okay, all right. I digress. But yes, for those independent. I'm gonna throw in Junkyard Wars, a little Junkyard Wars set. It's a perfect combination. We'll talk about Junkyard Wars.
Is that just loose pieces in a box?
Exactly. That's it. That's what it is. But it's the idea that you can vote what you want, and Lego will try to make it happen as best as they can, as long as they could acquire the licensing rights or build it themselves. Like if you look at the typewriter was a part of, and we talked about that in our August review series. Was a part of that idea series, and look at how detailed it was, and they really didn't do any modifications or things to it. They price the bricks appropriately, and they sell it, and people will go out who voted for it and buy it. And not too many people need to actually buy it to make the sales back. At the end of the day, it's injection molding with pieces that you already have created the molds for, so it's not like you're going out of the way to create those extra molds. So it's a win-win for everyone. But this is why today we thought, well, what things can we think of that we would love to see? And in the comments down below, tell us what you would love to see, or the sets that you are following on the Creative Ideas set that you would love to see fulfilled and put on store shelves. What you would want to see built out of Lego. It'd be great to see. Josh, what would you want to see when it comes to Creative Ideas?
There's so much that I would, man, to narrow it down is difficult. recently, I purchased the Lego City Arctic Explorer sets. They were on clearance at Target. I liked that you got some little animal figures with it. I thought it was cute. There was an orca, there was seal. You could get polar bears as part of that series. And just on a whim, again, it was on sale. I decided to pick them up, and they turned into my favorite builds of the year so far. And I just thoroughly enjoyed the detail. I enjoyed the storytelling aspect of it. The minifigures were fun. The animals were cool. And I like the fact that the boat floats, which we've talked about mixing Lego in the bathtub before. Well, this is one of those opportunities where the box actually tells you that you can do it. But I would love to see a Lego City cruise ship design where, and truthfully, I love to travel. I love to cruise. I'd be okay if it wasn't Lego City and it was just a huge, gigantic Titanic. I guess Titanic is a cruise ship. One that's still together, more modern idea.
I mean, the Titanic is still together technically, but it's just farther down.
Together here and together there and down there. But a Lego City cruise ship where there's some interior spaces that you can build, but overall it's a play set. So you can have those elements, those storytelling aspects, because I think overall, one of the cool things about cruising is there are so many different spaces and so many stories that a family can experience while on a vacation. And I think it would be a very cool idea for a set to be built or designed in that manner.
2 minifig scale?
I would like minifig scale, especially if it is a play set. You know, if it's in the city, the Lego City line, I think that could be pretty great. You know, there'd be a lot of fun interactivity. Like, can you imagine a little like water slide on the upper deck, a little minifig, and it goes sliding down? I think that could be really cool. And
is your idea to scale of like the Titanic? Oh, because if you look at the city line, right, based on the detail and stuff, but are you building this ship to like the size of a Titanic, or are you building it more so for playability?
I want two. I want a display piece that would be built to the size of the Titanic, and have those interior spaces, but on maybe micro scale, but just gigantic. Because I mean, if you compare the Titanic to modern cruise liners, it's a little bitty baby. It's so small in comparison to the modern cruise liners. Like,
and you look at it like Oasis of the Seas, which can hold like what 8,000 people,
something insane like that. That's too many people for me. I don't want that many people anywhere near me.
Think about the minifigures that would come with this set.
Oh, there would be so many minifigures, enough that we could fill our studio audience. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, if you did not know, just as an aside, Josh is building a studio audience for our sig figs. And our sig figs have a little desk and chair. I don't know if Josh has it near him. And he could show it to you really quick. There it is. There we are. Oh, we're also coming in on the bottom cam, so you can see from the top view. The cool thing is we thought it was fun talking to the camera, but we thought we need a studio audience. And you know what? For everyone that subscribes to this YouTube channel, and if you're following on the podcast, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. We will allow you to pick a minifigure and add it to our physical studio audience. Yes, our physical Lego studio audience, which Josh is currently working on in the background, not the Lego set that you see below, but in the background, not when we're filming.
We're keeping it a surprise for you.
Correct. It's going to be fantastic. Or Lego-tastic. So be sure to subscribe. Message us on Instagram. Leave a comment down below if you did subscribe, and we'll let you pick your minifig to add to the audience. But Josh, back to you.
Think of it like your own physical digital avatar here as part of our show. Exactly. And as our way of thanking you for spending so much time watching us talk about Lego.
Correct.
But yes, going back to the idea of the cruise ship, I want both. I want one that I can play with, kind of like the Lego City Arctic Explorer sets, because I just had so much fun with that. And there's so many opportunities for maybe not so much animals. Maybe there's a whale watching excursion or something that can be part of that story. But a full size micro scale with all of the different spaces would be really neat as well.
That'd be one epic set, to be very
And
honest.
I do know that Lego has an official MSC set that you can purchase if you sail on the MSC cruise line.
I did not know
but that one's very small. It doesn't have a lot of details, but it's a nice souvenir for those who have sailed on that cruise line and on those ships. But something that maybe opens up and sees some of those interior spaces could be really neat in a future set.
Yeah. No, I would totally be down for that, as long as for me, it's not so much about the display ability, because I think at that point it would also be like with MSC, you have to put the detail in it to know what the ships are, right? So I think more so the display ability would be maybe you get a license to like build an Oasis of the Seas where it is in that scale, kind of like what the Titanic was. But I think the playability would have to be its own thing. But I would love the one with playability. I would instantly put wheels underneath where you couldn't see. Would yours float in the bathtub? Or in the
The
pool?
city one would, of course, float.
Okay.
The display one most likely would not.
No, probably not.
What if the display one was like Lego already has a good relationship with Disney? What if it was one of the Disney Cruise Line sets?
With that dark blue hull with the gold trim all the way around, and then you have the character on the back? I can see that.
That's pretty iconic, and it would be a good partnership because of brand recognition.
True. Yeah, and the ships are very not milk carton like.
Mm-hmm.
If you're unfamiliar with the cruise industry, the majority of the ships that are white, if you really look at them, they look like tipped over milk cartons. You know, the ones with the foldable tab? That's what they do.
But I think there's a more classic style to the Disney ships that I think would really capture the essence of a cruise ship.
Yeah. No, I agree.
A luxury cruise liner.
I absolutely agree. I would love to play with that set. And they would probably give you like 12 to 15 minifigures, so you could do all the different things. Because you would definitely get the captain, you get some crew, you would get the.
But which captain is it? Captain? Is it Captain Mickey? Is it Captain Hook? Is it Captain Jack Sparrow? Is it Captain America?
Oh, Captain! And he would have like he would have the beard, and he would have like a little mustache, but he would have the captain hat. Josh, you know what you got to do? Do you have the little boat minifigure from the Mystery series?
Of course I do.
Do you have Captain America with the shield?
Of course I do.
Could you put both together where he's wearing the captain's hat while holding the shield while being in the little boat?
Of course I can.
You will see that on the Instagram, everyone. Captain America. And then you can do it with Captain Jack Sparrow, where they have the little boat.
We're going to have a whole Captain series.
I digress.
What have I done?
Oh, this is going to be good. I can't wait to see this. I thoroughly enjoy that idea. I love that idea. One thing, that'd be epic. That'd be so much. You could do so much with that. One thing that I thought of, and this is not so much for a specific item, but it's the idea of a category that I would like to see. And this is really up to you if you guys know how to do it. You know how Lego came out with the roller coaster 4 or 5 years ago, the red one? And then they came out with the loop coaster. And now they most recently came out with that space-themed one where you get a mech costume, which I don't know how that makes sense to the roller coaster, but here we are. And it matches Series 26 on the CMF scale. CMF is the custom minifigure.
Collectible
minifigure. Which Series 26 was more so about outer space, and the coloring did match the new roller coaster set that just came out. I like theme parks. Okay? I see a lot of people, Craggle Creations, we see you, that Disney set you're building, or that Walt Disney World, specifically Magic Kingdom Park. That's absolutely amazing. If you haven't gone to check him out, please be sure to do so. He is building an amazing park. But one thing that I really would love to focus on, and granted it would take more room than what a micro park would be, was theme park attractions. Functional. I'm not talking like display, like Josh and I talked a little bit before the episode where he had brought up, if you're familiar with the Walt Disney World Resort or Disneyland Resort in California, Walt Disney World still has its Tower of Terror attraction at Disney's Hollywood Studios, where it is a free fall drop attraction with elevators, where you board this elevator car. It brings you back. It brings you to a main tunnel, brings you back out, and it free fall drops you at a randomized pace. I would love to see that in Lego, and I think Josh would too. Not only with the theming of it and the brick color would be absolutely amazing, but I would love it to have functionality. And I'm not.
Have you seen the Lego Haunted House set that came out a couple of years ago?
No.
So that set actually does feature a drop elevator function that is very, very similar to Tower of Terror, including doors that open up as you see the car come into frame. It's a very cool feature, a very cool function. But I would love to see that specifically if we're going to stick with the idea of a Disney park, the Tower of Terror. It's an iconic building. The exterior, just from a display aspect, is unmatched. There's so much cool theming to that and emulating the style of the 1930s in Hollywood.
Yep.
But
even with the sign,
to have that same functionality that you're talking about and that was featured in the Haunted House set, that would be phenomenal. And that would be a day one purchase.
That for me, it's the idea that for me, it's about the functionality just as much as the display ability. So there was somebody on the creative site a couple years ago. I haven't checked it most recently, but they were building, and if you're not familiar, it's a Epcot, or the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, or Epcot. It is Spaceship Earth. It's the main attraction that looks like a giant golf ball. It's not a golf ball, but it was functional. They made the ride, like they had the display, which is easy. Not easy because you're making a sphere out of Lego, which is not necessarily always easy. But not only did they make the sphere, but they made the functional ride vehicle on the interior. And for me, that's a win-win-win. Like you have the beautiful display of Spaceship Earth on the outside. You have the functional building. It looks exactly like it. You had the plants. You had the queue meaning line for the ride. And then you could actually bring your minifig all the way through the attraction. And I thought that was fantastic. But I'm also talking like ride systems. So that was a ride system. You could talk about Tower of Terror as a ride system. But if you look, and this is what I'm going to do as my comparison, if you look at the pieces and parts of how they mix Technic and regular brick now, and I'm going to use the Pac-Man set as an example. The functionality of the Pac-Man set, where Pac-Man is moving with the ghosts, can be easily transformed and utilized in attraction building. Can you imagine in the same function or fashion a Pirates of the Caribbean attraction, but built in minifig scale? And I'm not talking like expansive, but based on the tech that you got for, I'm calling it tech, the Technic portion of like the Pac-Man set, and integrated it into what you could get into Pirates. You could even build the lift out of the chain link wheels that you get from the Tank series. You could build it as a functional attraction. You could build Small World as a functional attraction just based on those pieces and parts. And I'm just confused. Like, granted, those sets would probably cost you like $400. But I would love to have a displayable, functional, it's a Small World attraction with the sound brick, lights, and a motor system. It might be a lot to ask, but it's the idea that it's plausible.
Mm.
It is
really,
functionally plausible.
It really is, and you know, I think since we have kind of gone on a little bit of a tangent on Disney here, I think one of the neat things about Disney and the history of Disney attractions is that they build upon what has come before. So with the development of animatronics and then a development of a boat ride system led to the creations of Pirates of the Caribbean. So if you're pulling in elements that have already been introduced in Lego sets, such as the elements that Tom has mentioned, it's very plausible that you can bring all of those components together in a way that hasn't been seen before, to make something that is entirely and wholly unique. Um,
Like
I love
look
it.
look at, and this is to expand and not to go too far, but if you look at the roller coaster sets that Lego has built up into this point, it is very bare bones amusement park roller coaster. Now, don't get me wrong, the pieces and parts are unique to their own, and they're brand new, and not brand new, but they're 5 years, 6 years old. But it's the idea that if you look at a functional attraction, whether it be from Universal or SeaWorld or Disney or Cedar Point or Knott's Berry Farm, when it is a themed coaster, non-Six Flags coaster, that it's integrated into a scene. Like relating it back to Disney, imagine building out of Lego Big Thunder Mountain, building
Oh,
Space Mountain. Like you could build a Space Mountain. It's functional. Like Space Mountain's more so, a freeform coaster that's just in the dark, so you don't see it. It makes you feel as though you're flying through space. I think that's more achievable right now than a Big Thunder. But imagine building a giant Western scene and hiding the coaster within it with minecarts, and it all being functional and having like little lights scattered throughout the scene set. Granted, if you wanted to build like a Walt Disney World like Crowdgo Creations, that attraction would probably take up a corner portion of the entire set of your model. But it's the idea that it is based on the pieces and parts, non-third party. It is plausible, but is it financially achievable? And this is where Lego Creative has to come into play to figure that out. And this is me testing you. Granted, I've gone very deep into this idea, but this is what
you've
I
thought
think
about
of.
this for a minute or two, haven't you?
I have, but it's the idea that with Technic and regular brick, I think you could do it. I just find it funny that they have not. Like you look at the McLaren we talked about in the August review set and how detailed the McLaren was. It's $500. It has over 3,500 pieces, yet we can't build a coaster with rockwork, right? But that's just my idea. I would love to see more theme park based attractions, but functionally. So even if it's like a simple show scene like the Carousel of Progress, where you can just have it in a rotating circle, but you still have the sound brick to like play parts of the show, how neat would that be? And I think you could do it with certain things. You could do it with certain things. But yeah, that's
I think
my creative idea.
the sound brick that came with the recent retro radio that has that kind of almost like pixelated sound, that garbled audio that fit right in with like the time period of the Carousel of Progress. That'd be really a really neat thing.
Just saying. Just saying. I would I There has to be someone out there that already does. In the comments down below, if there is someone that's already doing this, let me know. Um, I would love to see it. Ah, ah, I
That
digress.
idea set will have Tom's full support.
Yeah, I'll just click and I'll try to promote it here. But the that at least in terms of like the creativity of what I want to see is I do like a mix of Technic and regular brick as well. I think it just enhances it and it makes it come to life. It essentially like pluses what your build. Kind of like when Josh, remember when you went to Brick Fan Expo and you saw the Star Tours ride vehicle going up and down?
Yeah,
It stood out, right?
it did. It absolutely did.
Yeah. I think that's what Technic allows regular brick to do. It allows it to be an enhanced version of itself. How's the
Another. Oh, go ahead.
how's the build coming along?
I have a loop.
Hey,
I have a sonic loop. I'm applying some stickers now, and for those of you who don't know, stickers are the absolute worst, uh, bane of my existence, because I need them to be absolutely 100% straight. And sometimes, depending on the shape of the brick that you apply them to, for instance, these triangular bricks down here at the bottom, those are decals, and I did fairly good. However, for whatever reason, any sticker that goes on a slant, I struggle with, and it's very frustrating because I will apply and reapply until it's right, and then by that point, it loses a little bit of its stickiness, and we don't want that.
no, No. Should be printed on brick. Probably costs more.
Just a little bit. But we got past it. There's only one decal left for this set, so it'll be smooth sailing from here on out.
And you're on bag number 3?
Yes, I'm getting close to the end here with bag number 3.
Bag number 3.
So another thought that I had that would be cool as as a potential idea set or as a set that I would like to see maybe come back. It is a set or a theme rather that has existed in the past. Is the Lego Studios series?
Oh yeah. I remember those.
Which were individual builds, but it was akin to building like a movie studio set, and you could then build different scenes, and it had the hookup so you could like put a camera in there and take still shots, and then ultimately create your own little personal movies. It didn't last very long. As far as I remember, I didn't have these sets.
I had 2.
I wanted them, but for whatever reason, my parents didn't believe in my creativity enough to support me in that endeavor. So I never got those. But I think that with now smartphones and things like that, that line could come back with a bunch of different, whether it's IPs or whether it's other sound stages and other ideas, and be able to revisit that entire concept of the Lego Studio would be really neat.
No, I absolutely think that's it's the idea of you're absolutely right, and I think that those sets were coming out in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I think it was the idea that you could pair them with like a webcam, and 1 or 2 of the bigger sets came with the software that you could literally download to your computer, plug your webcam into your computer, and I'm talking this webcam could take like a 140 pixel image. Like this was not like the 1080p images that you're getting out of webcams today, and you could barely take like 5 pictures with this thing before it would fill your whole computer with memory. But I do remember having those sets because I thought it was cool that they had like breakaways, but you also used Technic rods to control like the figures on like a motorcycle or a car, or have them do cool spins in the air. But it was also to hold them in place, so your webcam could take that picture as the car was going up the ramp slowly, and you could do a stop action picture because Lego also sold you the software that went along with the set. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm. I didn't have the software, the camera part, but I had 2 of the sets.
That's exactly how I remember it, or at least the concept of it. Again, I didn't have any of these, so I don't know firsthand. I'm looking around here. I've misplaced some pieces, and I am not sure where they are.
That's Lego, isn't it? He's only on bag 3, people. Don't worry. But yeah, so a little bit more about the sets themselves. They were geared for and we talked about this before, where Lego was gearing up for a market that it wasn't ready for yet. Lego was ready for it, but the market wasn't ready for it. And Josh is right to the point that now with smartphones and tablets and webcams themselves, like I don't know if you would use a webcam, it doesn't make sense, or you could use a digital camera, but your phone is easier. You can literally build a housing out of Technic and or regular block to hold your phone or a parent's phone, and literally take as many pictures and video of your Lego creation sets as possible. You could even do now modular false facade buildings and set up scenes where kind of like your figures falling out of windows or driving through the wall or different things like that, and really set up those that want to get into stop action animation and give them a platform to figure out what they want to do next, because Lego, it's not an easier form of stop action animation, but it is a more, in terms of the material that you're using, it is easier in the fact that it is easier than like clay. But it is not easier in the fact that it's not as movable as clay, but clay also takes a little bit more work to get the design in. With Lego, you put pieces together, but to get them to function the way you want is a little bit harder than, let's say, clay, because clay is, you can malleable, you can move it. But it's definitely a great introduction to those who want to get into stop action. Now, granted, CGI Lego, like with the Lego movie, none of that was stop action animation. Which, can you imagine how long that would take? I'm a big fan of Wallace and Gromit. Love them to death. One of the first, actually the first VHS tape I ever got to pick out and buy as a kid was Wallace and Gromit, where they go to the moon and they meet the little robot that they put the quarter in, and he wants to get back on the moon. Well, the whole premise of the episode was that Wallace wanted some cheese for his crackers, and the moon was made of cheese. And I thought that was really cool. I'm going to interject this because I just thought of it. Another creative set that I want, and if you're listening, Wallace and Gromit, the little half-hour shorts, please make those sets. Please, I'd buy it. I'd buy it to put on my shelf immediately. I want a Wallace, I want a Gromit Lego figure, minifigure. I digress. But to Josh's point, I completely support those endeavors. It supports creativity and it supports using your imagination. Did you find the pieces you were looking for?
No, but I found this other brick, so somewhere I made a mistake. Clearly, multitasking is not something one should do when you're building a grid pattern like this. So I'm now going back and trying to determine where this piece goes.
Could you show us a little bit closer? Well, what is that piece? No, the other
this
one.
This is a
single. Oh no!
Just a single.
No. Are you sure it's not an extra?
What I'm actually looking for are just a single 1x1 tile piece, just in different, not this color. So they're in here somewhere. I just have to find them. I'll find them. It'll just take me a few minutes. Pause on bag 4. We'll get back to it. Only mildly embarrassing.
It's fine. It's a part of an active build, and you're also recording with us here on the podcast. But Josh's idea has led me to the Wallace and Gromit idea. Like with The Office, I was a fan of Wallace and Gromit. If I could have the little rocket ship and little space, I don't even know. It's like a vending machine figure when he's on the moon with cheese. And like a little box of crackers in his hand. I understand. Like, I'm a big fan of collecting the minifigures, but I like when they're so detailed that they matter to the figure. Like if Gromit came with his little bowl or a little bone or like a little tea kettle because he likes to drink tea. Like, I think that would be cool. Like, I would build the ship, I'd put it on a shelf, I'd display it for like Christmas and theme it, and whenever I'd watch it, I'd bring it out. This is what creative ideas is all about, is that if something like Fawlty Towers or something like Wallace and Gromit or the idea set or an attraction set is important to you, I bet you there are other people that it's important to them as well. And sharing those ideas is exactly what Lego wanted. It's what Lego wanted to compel, is that they want to know what you want. Not every decision they're going to make is something that everyone's going to enjoy. Not everyone enjoyed Bionicle. Some had a love-hate relationship with it. Not everyone is going to enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog. Right now, Josh is regretting his decisions.
That is very true.
But it's the idea that if you have a submission where it's 10,000 votes and somebody's going to vote on it, that means there's strong support for it. So you would see sets that Lego would never choose in a million years, but chose because their fans wanted it. And that's where I think you could see a lot of really cool, innovative ideas going forward. And with the more pieces and molds that they release, it's endless, the possibility as to what you can build. Already you're dismantling something that you haven't even finished building yet? What is this, Josh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think I might have found the culprit here on the backside of the build.
Zoom in. We need to get a close-up of the mistake.
So, do we? So previously, this stack of 3 1x1 tiles was here, and it should be this one. And with that correction, I now have the pieces that I need to correct the error that I made and finish bag 3 and move on to bag 4. So I apologize, dear watchers and listeners, if I was vaguely frustrated here for just a brief period of time. I am back on track to complete this set, regretting nothing at all. The fault is entirely mine. We do not blame this on Sonic. He is just a hedgehog. We blame this entirely on me. I love the idea of Wallace and Gromit, by the way.
Yes!
To comment on that,
Yes!
I think that would be a fantastic build. So many possibilities. It's such a creative idea and concept that I think it would translate very well into Lego, and it would give a portion of the public who maybe doesn't always see. We see a lot of IPs based on American properties. Mm-hmm. We don't see a lot of IPs based on international properties. And Lego is an international company, headquartered in Denmark, that though Wallace and Gromit is not from Denmark, there are several great European characters and stories that are begging to be adapted. And I think that would be a great one for Lego to do. Bag 3 is done.
Yes!
Oh, and we got Sonic's gem.
There we go.
Yeah, gem number 3.
And with that, Sonic has number 3. How many are in the whole set? 6?
Yes. Well, there's space for 7. I don't know that one gem is going to go underneath Sonic here. And there's only 6 bags, so I assume that we're only going to get 6 gems. But with that, he has his gem for bag 3. I'm going to go ahead and attach the loop onto what I've previously built from bags 1 and 2.
Which you saw in the previous episode. And that looks like the coloring makes it look so good. Here, hold it up just a little bit. That coloring makes it look so good. Now, granted, I would have preferred that they not use stickers on this set, but print on brick, as we know, is always the preferred version. But the possibilities are endless when it comes to Legos, especially when
Legos.
God, you have a. When did you make a sign? And does it
during the commercial break?
All right. So if you're new here to the BlockCast, I potentially sometimes, not always, say the word Are you putting in a notch for this? Oh, man. All right. If you're new here to the BlockCast, sometimes, not always, I say, how many times have we said it now? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've said Legos 6 times so far since we've began this podcast. Don't get me wrong, it's just a slip of the tongue. I'm trying to get better, but it appears now that Josh has a scoreboard where he will now apparently notate every time I say the word Legos. Great.
We don't need this S. This S is redundant.
So, Lego is the true word. The plural of Lego is Lego. Yeah. All right, everybody. With that, I think Josh is going to complete his build in a future episode. We're trying to do it bag by bag. He's gotten a lot done. Sonic is happy. He's gotten 3 gems, 1 ring. And the big thing for us, most important, especially for this episode, since we're sharing our creative ideas, tell us your creative ideas down below. Some of the creative ideas don't necessarily have to deal with sets. Sometimes they have to deal with minifigures, right? And you can get creative with how you design them. And Josh, if you remember us talking about it a little bit earlier in the episode, all about different captains. And Josh, what captains would you like to see if you had to build your cruise ship?
Well, I guess it depends. If we're going to stick with the idea that our massive cruise ship build is going to be Disney, the possibilities truly are endless. We could have Captain Jack Sparrow. We could have Captain Marvel. We could have Captain Hook. We could have Captain Mickey. We could have Captain Minnie. We could have Captain Solo. Captain Smollett. Anybody?
It's Kermit the Frog.
Captain America. Actual Captain.
Captain.
Captain,
Oh
my
wait,
Captain.
could you show them that one? If you're unfamiliar with the CMF series, I can't remember which one this is a part of. It's a little captain in a little tiny cruise ship boat. I have this one too. I find this to be adorable. All right.
But it gets even better. It gets even better. So who was your favorite captain, Tom?
I like the captain, but also if I had to choose one, it'd probably be Captain America.
Captain America is a good choice. I think that we can make that work.
Okay. Remember, people, creativity is the number one point of Lego. It can be anything you want it to be. Literally anything you want it to be. And Josh, I think, is going to show us that. Captain America, Captain. That's great. Please. So if you're listening on the podcast, Josh has switched out the captain's ship to give Captain America a captain's captain ship. America. All right. With that, everybody, we're going to let you go ahead, put your creative ideas down in the comments below, your creative minifigure ideas down below, anything creative that you have ideas when it comes to not only ideas, but Lego itself, we'd like to know. What's very important to us, especially as a brand new, young podcast, we have a fun Instagram. Josh is actually going to share some of those captains so we can share them with you over on our Instagram. So be sure to follow so we can show you some of those creative ideas. But be sure to follow us on there. But the big things that they need to do, Josh, please remind them. It's important to us. We need it.
It truly is. Please like, comment, subscribe, watch, listen,
share.
Talk
Tell
about
your
it
friends
at your family dinner.
Grandparents will subscribe. They'll subscribe to anything.
Sure.
As long as you tell them about it. Tell them like,
set it up as the only channel on their Spotify. They won't know how to change it. They'll just keep listening to us over and over again. It's great.
Correct. Every time they get in the car, hey, I'm Tom and I'm Josh and this is the BlockCast. And they're like, I don't know anything about Lego, but for Susie, I will listen to them for the 4th time.
But at the end, they'll know something about Lego, because the greatest thing of all is that every episode you learn something new.
Exactly. I completely agree. With that, don't forget to subscribe. My name's Tom.
And I'm Josh.
And thank you for watching the BlockCast.
Where Lego fans click.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.